Man, look at that headliner. It's terrible. I'm gonna fix it, guys, I promise. Time to get cracking on this headliner. This thing is hideous. Look, I'm gonna have to take off all these panels here, there. That'll give me a chance to put the LEDs in the cell panel and in the upper lights. The upper lights, you access them through here. See that panel? I'm gonna take all that off, so I'll show it to y'all. So here's the material for it. I got this here in Houston at Keystone Brothers. I'll put their address here on the screen. But man, they had a really good options for all kinds of materials, even for vinyl. So I went ahead and bought the vinyl there to wrap the panels in the trunk. So real good quality stuff. So let me start taking out that old thing and get it cleaned up. All right, I got this thing out, man. It is quite the mess in here. Look at that, goodness. Stuff is just falling apart. It's just completely deteriorated. So I'm gonna brush all this stuff off, probably with a broom or a brush, and then get this nice and cleaned up. I will say this is pretty fragile, so you got to try your best not to bend it. I did bend the corner over there a little bit, but it was just kind of hard to get out. Let me show you something cool on the back side of this thing. Pretty cool little artifact there. All right, so after you get your board cleaned up, make sure it's clean of any debris, any dust, dirt. Use the broom. I got all that old stuff off of it. And at this point, what you want to do is you want to lay over your headliner material. Make sure it's nice and even on all four sides. So now you roll over half of the material to about halfways on the board. And then you can pull over the long side. Start applying your adhesive now. And you want to go in one direction first. And whenever you're spraying, you want to do 50% overlap. After you're done going in one direction, you want to go the opposite way. So you will create a crosshatch. You want to do crosshatch on the full board to make sure you get coverage on every square inch. You got to get your sides really good once you get to the edge. That way you'll have glue on every bit of it. So once you get done with that, you can go ahead and start spraying the bottom of the fabric. So you have to let this stuff get tacky. You never want to glue stuff right after you spray it with this headliner glue because it won't stick. You're gonna run into some trouble. So you let it get tacky first. You know, go ahead and spray the bottom of your headliner. Make sure you get that completely covered, and you want to go past the board. So whenever you pull the fabric back over, you'll have plenty of glue on the edge. So again, 50% overlap. And you want to make sure you go over every square inch of the fabric and the board. And again, make sure you do crosshatch on the board itself. So whenever I fold this part over that I'm applying the adhesive on, you're not going to stick it right away. You're just going to fold it over, and then you're going to apply glue to the other half of the board. So once you get full coverage, you fold it over. Again, don't press it down just yet. You got to let this stuff get tacky. And then you want to fold over the rolled side all the way up to where you have glue. And then you're going to start applying the glue again. So you want to fold this over on the clean side so you won't get glue on your headliner. It just covers it. It'll protect it. So you fold it over to where you can see the glue where you left off on the board. And then again, you're going to do 50% overlap, and you're going to do a crosshatch. So at this point, I started a new can. So I did do crosshatch on both sides, the board and the fabric. I used 2 cans total for the whole job. I didn't know if it was going to be enough, but it was actually plenty, and it worked out really great. So you're doing your crosshatch. At the same time, the other side is getting tacky, and you go ahead and do your fabric side after you're done with the board, just like the other side. And you can see I'm doing a little overlap here, making sure I get plenty of glue. Doing the other side. And then you want to go ahead and do your crosshatch also, if you have enough glue. Crosshatch is more important for the board, but if you have plenty of glue, just do crosshatch on the fabric as well. So after I was done applying the glue here, what we did is we folded it over, and as you can see, I got plenty coverage on the sides and over up top. And we just let it sit for about 5 minutes, and then we came back and then started pressing it on the board. So you want to start in the middle and work your way out. I kind of do overkill on it, but that's just how I am. I just start in the middle and keep pressing and pressing all the way out until you can start seeing all the contours coming in the way it's supposed to look. So I think, to me, this is the most satisfying part of doing the headliner, just pressing it on in and seeing how the contours come to life. So you want to make sure you go all the way around, all the way on the edges. But once we got that done, we just double check the edges again all the way through. We just let it sit for about 30 minutes before we actually flipped it over. And that way we made sure the glue was nice and dry before we turned it over. So once it was dry, what I did is I went around the whole edge of the fabric and the board, and I went ahead and sprayed the adhesive, and I let that sit for a little while, let it get tacky. I went around it at least 3 times. There was some already on the fabric from the overlapping when I was spraying the fabric, which is what I wanted. So once I let that get tacky, what we did is we cut about 3 inches away from the board, so it had 3 inches of slack all the way around. And we used that to fold over onto the top of the board. What I've seen some people do, and it may work, I don't know. I've seen them cut all the way to the edge of the board and just leave it like that. I don't think that's good for longevity. I kind of feel like it'll unglue from the edge, maybe. I don't know. So for me personally, what I do is I just leave about 3 inches of slack all the way around, cut the corners, and just start folding it over. Again, we let that adhesive get really tacky before we folded it over. And it worked out great. Everything stuck the way it should. It was nice and sturdy. So we let that dry for about 15 minutes, and here it is. So here's the final product right here. Everything came out nice and contoured. I got a few things left to do. I need to cut out the holes for the visors, and then cut out the center hole for the dome lights, somewhere about right there. Before I get it back in, I'm gonna go ahead and install the LEDs for the upper lights and the sail panel. So this is where you access the upper light. I put a single faint LED. It lights up kind of blue, but it's actually white. Here it is lit up. And for the sail panel, I did a multiple LED on a single bulb. So it's a lot brighter in the back. So I just wanted to keep the upper light somewhat original with the faint color, and then the LED for the sail panel really bright. So now that that's in, I can go ahead and install the headliner. Tell everybody what you did today.
Everything.
Everything?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Johnny.
What? Yeah, oh, the headliner? I know.
Yes, the headlight.
Oh my gosh, Johnny is correct.
For
Man, it looks
42.
better than new. Look at that. Yeah, man, I love it. It looks perfect. So from the factory, this little cap here, it looks white right now because of LED, but it's like off-white.
Yeah.
But I put an LED in it. If I can find something clear to put there, I will. Similar what I did to the cell panel lights on the Rocket. But here are the cell panel LEDs. They look really nice. You can't see the upper lights right now because it's daylight, but I'll show them to you once it gets dark.